I'm Allison Rodriguez, and this is 12 News Cultura, where we celebrate Latinos across the Valley and Arizona. Coming up, we're dishing up some delicious Mexican food with a Valley YouTube star whose recipes have gone viral. Latinos are rising above when it comes to taking care of business. We're diving into the numbers that prove it. Turning the page. Barrio Cafe shuts its doors after serving up food for more than 20 years, and we're hearing from Chef Silvana on what she's looking forward to the most in her next chapter. Hear from one of the most renowned lowrider artists in Arizona, how he helped the Phoenix Suns pay tribute to Chicano and Latino pride in the Valley. Speaking of the Suns, seeing his designs come to life on the basketball court. We'll introduce you to the artist tasked with designing the Suns' El Valle uniforms. We're taking a look at a local legend who you won't often find in the history books, how one Latino man in the 1800s helped shape State 48 as we know it today. And an award-winning Mexican bakery sharing their delicious seasonal tradition with the Valley. Well, thanks so much for joining us. I'm Allison Rodriguez, and this is Cultura, where we celebrate trailblazers, traditions, and accomplishments among the Hispanic community. You know, here in Arizona, Hispanics are the state's fastest growing demographic and are major contributors too. According to the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, in the past decade, wealth in Hispanic households more than tripled. From 2018 to 2023, the number of Latino-owned businesses in Arizona, that grew 34%. And Latinas are becoming powerhouses to the economy. According to research from UCLA and professors at California Lutheran University, Latinas contributed $1.3 trillion to the country's gross domestic product in 2021. That's up from $661 billion in 2019. I spoke with the president and the CEO of the Arizona Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and she tells me while the new report does show major growth, the fact is there is still much work to be done.
Still making about 55 cents to every white man's dollar.
That is for the same amount of work. It is one of the largest pay gaps of any group, but she is optimistic still that things are moving in the right direction. A prominent figure in the Mexican-American labor movement, Cesar Chavez spent much of his life fighting for the rights of farm workers, helping improve working conditions and forming a union. In fact, you see his legacy in Phoenix every day with a park and school both named after him. And if you ask one local organization, the whole state should celebrate this Arizona-born civil rights icon. The parallels between Martin Samaniego's life and that of Cesar Chavez are not lost on him.
My steps, it just seemed like it just happened to me. I happened to be there.
Samaniego, born in New Mexico, Chavez, born near Yuma, Arizona, before both found themselves in Central California.
I met Cesar Chavez and shook hands with him while he was beginning his organizing.
Years later, Samaniego was working in Arizona when he saw Chavez during his famous hunger strike at the Santa Rita Hall in South Phoenix.
Yes, I was there while he was doing the fasting here in Arizona.
Chavez and his life's work, unionizing and improving working conditions for farm workers, touched Samaniego's life and Jesus Hernandez's life too.
Well, it inspired me because of the fact that what his heart was at, it was helping people.
Hernandez and Samaniego came together through the West Valley Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to improving education. They named their premier event the Cesar Chavez Celebration of Education, Diversity, and Scholarship Awards Dinner, held every year. Named for Chavez to help keep teaching new generations about his life and legacy, which they found is still needed when they stopped by a local school.
We wanted to find out what the youngsters knew about Cesar Chavez. They didn't.
The kids learned how they see his work in every meal.
One little girl said, well, now when I eat my food, I think about it different because of Cesar Chavez.
Samaniego says they focus on education because it is still out of reach for so many Latinos.
There's such a big need, and we'll never fulfill it, to educate our people.
This is about giving people a chance, or even a second chance, like he got in college when he was going to drop out because of the cost. That's when his mentor's family stepped in.
He wrote me a check for $5,000. It kept me in school. And there's people like that that have done things for me. that I have to give back and do more.
Chavez still making an impact years after he's gone, showing that si se puede, or yes you can, achieve great things. You may just need a helping hand.
Mexican food needs to be respected on par with French cuisine.
That is Barrio Cafe's longtime owner, Chef Silvana, and you can feel her passion for Mexican food and the culture. She wanted to share that passion with every plate she served up for more than 20 years at her restaurant. Well, this year, she decided to shut down the popular Barrio Cafe, and I caught up with her before she closed the iconic restaurant, where she told me she's never been about living in the box. She wanted to do things her own way when she decided to open the doors of that restaurant. And this baker's daughter certainly has left her mark. Early on, the restaurant earned 5 stars. Chef Silvana Salcido Esparza, she was named on the list of the Valley's golden age of independent chefs. The restaurant was booked and busy. Chef Silvana expanded. She had some other restaurants, but by the time COVID hit, well, Barrio Cafe was the only one that remained. She was outspoken during the pandemic about restaurant safety and spent her own money to keep paying her longtime employees. It was moves like that that displayed her spirit to not follow the money, but do what she felt was right. She told me closing Barrio Cafe isn't the end of a chapter, but more of a golden book of her life. But she's ready for what's next, including writing several books, spending time in Mexico, and having more time to cruise around Arizona in her low rider. We certainly wish her well. And you know, there's a big community here for low riding, those who enjoy cruising around in those custom painted cars. So chances are you've seen artist Bugs work, and definitely if you're a fan of the Phoenix Suns. I sat down with Bugs to talk about his passion for art and about getting that phone call from the Suns office. If you want the best sunrises and sunsets, you come to Arizona. If you want a timeless custom vehicle paint job, you come to Efrain Gonzalez, better known as Bugs.
Hopefully when people see my work, they can tell, well, that's a Bugs paint job.
For Gonzalez, lowrider culture was love at first sight.
I seen these 2 guys in a lowrider, and so I looked over and I just seen them, hitting the switches, and I seen them scraping. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is that?
He loved it all. The clothes, the cars, the lifestyle, even if it took him a minute to realize it.
But once I understood it, and I was like, where it comes from, I go, well, that's me.
But in his heart, he was always an artist. And while he loved everything about it, he flourished when he had a brush in his hand.
Then I started seeing cars getting custom painted. I started seeing the upholstery. I started seeing the murals.
That is so cool. With the support of his wife and family in Arizona, he went alone to California in the 90s to really study his passion. And he carries those lessons to this day.
Whenever I do signs, I can still hear my instructor, Doc Guthrie, why are you doing it like that? Why are you taking so long?
He looks back on that time now fondly, and for the past 40 years and countless custom paint jobs, his reputation spread. So much so that the Phoenix Suns came calling for their El Valle City Edition uniform campaign.
I remember when they called me, I was looking at my phone like, okay, who's messing around?
That's Bugs next to Suns superstar Devin Booker.
So I remember when we did that commercial and he said, I want Bugs in the car with me, and I was like, what, really? Booker's a real cool dude.
But if you ask who impresses him today, it's really the people doing what he loves to do.
Man, look at this guy, go with that brush, or look at that guy's paint job.
So what does a custom Bugs paint job look like?
Keep them timeless.
In other words, classic. His pinstriping is freehand and requires surgery-like precision, as we saw up close. He's one of the best. He's loved this work and world since he was a kid, so I asked when he's gonna put down the brush.
I'll go until the big man upstairs says you're done.
Proving if you love what you do, you never really work a day in your life. Well, I've also got the chance to speak with a local artist tasked with designing the Suns El Valle uniforms. After the break, you're going to hear how the whole idea came together. Welcome back, everyone. So this year marks 150 years since a California Latino man moved to Phoenix and changed Arizona history. His story really seems out of a Western movie, a great horse rider keeping outlaws at bay and becoming the first law marshal elected in what was then the town of Phoenix.
Talk about one of the greatest lawmen in the Southwest.
A man whose stories rival legends like Wyatt Earp. His name was Enrique or Henry Garfias.
He wanted to follow all the rules. He was very precise about doing things.
Pete Ray Dimas is a local historian, and he sat down with me at the Phoenix Police Museum near the Garfias display to share what we know about the man who would go on to become Phoenix's first elected law marshal.
Everybody understood that he was a very courageous individual.
Born and raised in California in the 1850s, Garfias knew how to shoot, ride horses, and track cattle. He'd moved to Arizona in 1871, and 10 years later, Phoenix officially became a town, and that's when he put his skills to use.
Enrique Garfias, or Henry Garfias, runs for town marshal, and he gets elected.
The first elected town marshal ever. One story about his time as marshal is when 3 to 4 Texans came riding into Phoenix
And start shooting up the place. Like right out of the movies, you know, these crazy guys shooting guns like that.
The men on horses shooting at Garfias, who was running after them. Dimas says Garfias shot a pistol out of one of the cowboys' hands.
Eventually, he ends up killing one of the guys and arresting the other 2.
Some accounts say all of the cowboys ended up dead.
The town was so grateful that the citizens collected shortly thereafter $167. Thank you.
Another instance, an outlaw named the Saber Slasher, also known as Oviedo.
Oviedo claimed that he was going to kill Garfias.
And during one run-in,
Oviedo pulls out a shotgun, shoots at him a couple of times, and Garfias kills him.
there are many stories like this. Outlaws, bandits, all stopped by Garfias, but by 1886 he would lose his re-election bid, though stay working as the constable until he died in 1896. And the tributes after his death poured in.
He was engaged in the issue of justice, but it was justice that included both sides of the border.
An American and Arizona hero whose legacy will hopefully now be shared. Now, Garfias is buried in Phoenix at the Pioneer and Military Memorial Park. The Phoenix Police Museum does have a display dedicated to Garfias and his work in law enforcement. So if you would like to check it out, you can visit phoenixpolicemuseum.org. Now I want to introduce you to Claudia Regalado. Cooking is her dream, it's her love language, and now the Valley chef is sharing that love with the world, and millions are noticing. I sat down with the viral sensation who shares with me some of the toughest moments of her life, what helped her persevere, and the message she has for everyone who may be going through hard times.
I'm going to share with you how to...
Between her YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, Claudia Regalado has almost 2.5 million subscribers and followers, all looking for authentic Mexican recipes.
And this one reminds me of my mom so much.
Her videos bring you into her kitchen, where she spends most of her time. I was invited to her Valley home to talk about her success and also get a hands-on lesson.
But you know, when making tortillas, you have to kind of play with it. Like, the masa needs to feel the love.
Flour tortillas are a staple in northern Mexico with simple ingredients, all-purpose flour, some salt, and a little bit of lard.
We're just going to crumble them.
Okay.
So kind of until the flour feels like sand.
Hot water brings the dough together before kneading, and then measure and separate what will be the tortillas.
I used to tell my grandma, if no hace tortillas, Sarina, I'm not going to eat the beans. So she already knew she needed to make flour tortillas.
While we let the dough rest, Claudia tells me her journey began in 2017.
I started just making my little recipes, and then people loved it. And that's where I started.
And she's done it all from right here in Arizona. Brought to the U.S. at the age of 5, she says cooking was a way to reconnect with her roots.
Recipes that remind me of my grandma. I'm like, oh, it takes me back to that.
She's shared countless recipes on Cooking con Claudia, both classic and ones with a twist. But not everyone was so sure it was all going to pay off.
My mom, at first, when they used to see us on the camera, like, ay, estás loca.
But she and her husband quit their hospital jobs in 2019 and haven't looked back. And she loves running into her Arizona subscribers.
I go to the store and they're like, are you cooking con Claudia? I'm like, yes, that's me. They're like, oh my God, I can't believe you're from here. I'm like, yes, this is my hometown.
The dough is ready to be rolled out, so we're tag teaming. Once they're round and thin enough, they go on a hot griddle or comal. Few seconds and then flip. Bonus points if you can do it with your hand. And done, ready with a homemade salsa.
Fresh tortillas, fresh salsa.
The best. Doesn't get any better than this.
Her latest big project, her very own cookbook filled with 100 hit recipes.
I still can't believe it. I'm like, wow, this isn't me. This is my cookbook. That's amazing. And everybody loved it. I think the reviews, the feedback, it's been amazing. I'm like, wow, I did that.
You should be very proud of yourself.
It's her authenticity that draws people in, even in tough moments like sharing her past teen pregnancy.
At that time, when I got pregnant, I kind of felt like a failure. Like, that's what we grow up hearing.
But she has this message for her younger self and anyone struggling.
Just to be patient. That it's just the beginning. Yeah.
I love that message, sharing with everyone to never stop believing in yourself. Now, another milestone she wanted to hit was getting more than 1 million followers on her cooking TikTok page. Well, she has certainly surpassed that now. So the sky really is the limit, and her book is available in retail stores and on Amazon. Well, still ahead for you, we are taking you inside a well-known Mexican bakery that is sharing their delicious seasonal tradition with the Valley. Plus, when the Phoenix Suns took a look at who was coming to the games, organizers found Chicanos made up a large part of their fan base, which made last season's City Edition uniform idea a no-brainer. Coming up in 5 minutes, I'll introduce you to the artist behind that design. And the sights and sounds of Mexico. Meet the Valley artists keeping mariachi music alive. Well, welcome back, everyone. Pumpkin empanadas, they are a pastry staple in many Hispanic homes during the holidays. And One Valley Bakery is continuing to share this tradition. 12 News journalist Brenda Lipinski went to La Purísima Bakery to find out what goes into these delicious treats.
Juan and Marcela Arellano opened up La Purísima Bakery in the early 80s to help support their family. And now they're able to share their sweet treats with people all across the valley.
People all lined up at La Purísima Bakery in Glendale to buy some tasty treats out front.
They come here for all the pastries, the conchas, the marranitos, the flaky pastries, everything.
Store manager Irma Arellano says this time of year, pumpkin empanadas are a favorite.
You go anywhere in Mexico, you're gonna find either pumpkin or sweet potato. And it's very traditional that every bakery has to have either pumpkin or sweet potato.
And making empanadas is a familiar family tradition.
Ever since I was little, I remember every Mexican bakery or even making the empanadas at home with your grandparents, with your family members, especially around, October, November, December when the pumpkins are ripe.
Putting detail in each and every empanada.
And we prepare our own pumpkin empanada, our own pumpkin filling.
Of course, she says there's also pineapple and other flavors too.
When the bakery started, we only started with 3 flavors. And little by little, we've been adding because, due to customer requests.
A comforting treat and treasured memory.
This is what it looks like. Plenty of filling, and it just brings you back to home.
Brenda Lipinski, 12 News.
All right, I don't know about you, but now I'm hungry. La Purísima Bakery is also known for their specialty Mexican treats, including their viral Diamondbacks and Suns-themed conchas. Both teams have a huge Latino following. And last season's Suns City Edition uniform, that is a nod to Chicano fans who have been filling up the stands for years. And the artist behind the jerseys met up with me and explained how it all started and then evolved into a love letter to his Mexican-American roots.
Yeah, that's how you unveil it right there.
celebrating Chicano culture and the love of basketball. The Sun's latest City Edition uniform is a nod to Mexican-American fans.
You know, the majority of our fan base is Chicano. I think it's super important, you know, to embrace that.
So the Suns went to artist Miguel Angel Godoy for the designs.
Was there a lot of pressure? Absolutely. Absolutely, there was a lot of pressure.
I caught up with Godoy at the Suns team shop where we can see his designs come to life. The inspiration goes back to his parents.
What we always reference were the stories that my father would share of growing up in the lowrider culture, growing up in Chicano culture. Him and my mother would share these stories with us.
And when the Suns came calling, it was a pinch-me moment for him and his family.
And initially, I didn't believe it, right? Because it's like a huge opportunity. It's one of the things that us artists, us creatives dream of.
The El Valle idea had been years in the making. The Suns taking a look at who was in the stands.
Fan base is full of Chicanos who's been supporting the Suns for decades, so it's only right that we honor them as we play.
And every detail of the jersey was thought out by Godoy. From the style of the letters.
That's a combination of two things, right? Definitely leaned on Chicano typography, right? Chicano lettering. And then also mixing that with car culture.
To the colors.
If you look at a lot of lowrider paint jobs, they have these really nice textures. And it's layered, right? So this would be the first layer, and then this comes on top, and there's a drop shadow here.
And with everyone on board, it came to life. Godoy says, though, this wasn't for him, but more for the families like him.
And my wife has a saying, it's representation always and in all ways. And this is it.
Godoy tells me his son and daughter are always rocking Dad's El Valle designs. And of course, this was a major collaboration with so many people involved. If you would like to learn more about the Sun City Edition uniforms, including the latest one, you can visit the NBA's website. Well, from designers to musicians, Latinos can do it all. Celebrations in the culture, they're bound to include the sound of mariachi for so many. And 12 News journalist Brenda Lipinski spoke with Valley artists who continue to share that tradition.
Mariachi music continues to be a symbol for Mexican culture starting in the late 1700s and early 1800s. And fast forward to today, Arizonans are still keeping that musical tradition alive.
Mariachi, cántame muchas canciones.
Singer Alan Ponce remembers the first mariachi song he performed.
Volver, Volver by our very own Vicente Fernandez.
As a lover of all things mariachi,
it's the identity of people that have gone through struggles, have done all they can to work to sustain their families.
He admires all the kings who made the music, from Vicente Fernandez to Pedro Infante to Javier Solís.
Lola Beltrán, Aida Cuevas, Amalia Mendoza, Lucha Villa, and countless others have really given an identity for women in terms of mariachi singing.
Amid the legends making up the genre, students at Desert Oasis Elementary are helping keep mariachi alive, all thanks to Arizona's Teacher of the Year, Dr. Efraín Casillas.
A lot of people ask me, can you describe mariachi? And I say, mariachi is like a melting pot. It has a lot of different styles.
Sparking passion among students through song and melody. Over in Central Phoenix, Mariachi Continental Azteca says through mariachi comes camaraderie.
We are like a really big family. I actually perform alongside my husband and my best friend, so it's awesome.
Knowing that mariachi is a sound powerful enough to transform hearts of many.
We get to see them cry, we get to see them laugh. That's the best part.
Brenda Lipinski, 12 News.
Yeah, there's nothing just like a full mariachi, right, to add to a celebration. Well, thank you for joining us. And remember to stay with us on air, 12news.com and 12 Plus for all the latest happening in our community. And remember, if you have a story that you would like us to cover, you can email us at connect@12news.com.